Oh, hi everyone. Very good morning. How are you doing? Okay. So what's up? How is your preparation going on? What's the story? How was the week? And how is your preparation going on? What's the story? How was the week? Um, just one moment. Just asking the people in the Telegram group. Preparation going on? What's okay? All right, everybody, welcome to this class. So I thought ki let's combine this 9 a.m. and 2 a.m. class into one class, and we'll discuss VARC in one single class at the 10 a.m. and the 2 p.m. class, and let's discuss at 10 a.m. VARC, and at 2 p.m. we will discuss the mock test. We will discuss some other things apart from the regular coursework, the regular techniques and strategies and summary making and making the pair and central idea and looking for connections, finding the odd one out. Apart from all this, there's certain other things which we forget, which we get to know, which we become aware at a later point of time, which are broadly with respect to the lifestyle issues and lifestyle challenges which all of us face, and uh, in particular the candidates who are preparing for these high stake entrances, and they are under a bit of a pressure. So I think these small techniques, some small discussion with respect to the, apart from that mock test discussion, I thought it will be very helpful. So let's get on with this particular class, in which we will discuss and talk a little more about it. With respect to our coursework, we'll discuss today in our 10 a.m. class, and it will be mostly VA today. I'll be taking up some actual CAT questions which have come in, CAT, previous CAT test, actual test, and we will be discussing them in great detail so that you become better at them. My name is Anupam. This is all what I've achieved, and more than 3,000 hours of CAT training experience under my belt. I have impacted more than 3,500 lives, lives of 3,500 is students. If you just consider CAT as an examination, but if you see verbal ability, GRE, GMAT, and PSUs and other management entrance examinations, then around 7,000 or 8,000 candidates have trained. I stand out a little differently because I'm also developed verbal ability questions for many clients, and some of them were like such as GMAC and Delhi Police and Piramal. So to stay in touch, please download and install Unacademy App. Go to Plus, go to CAT, and subscribe. So on the Unacademy app, there are a lot of features which come out, which are for free, for which we don't charge anything. Those features are such as your special classes, free special live classes, and free quizzes. And I think they are extremely important. And they will always remain free, as the YouTube is free. But apart from that, if you want to go to the next level, because we still have some days for CAT, and after that there are other premier examinations such as IFT, SAT, SNAP, and NMAT. I think you people can do still a lot better. And I think anything more than 3 months or 6 months makes sense to me for 2020 people, and 24 months plan makes sense to me for CAT 21 aspirants, because for CAT 2020 till April 2021, and for CAT 2021 people, March, April 22 will be when they'll be done with all the processes in terms of the examinations they will have to write, and then post exam activities such as GDPI and other challenges will also be done by then. So I think that is what makes sense. Use the code Saxena Live to get 10% discount. 18,900 it comes down to for 24-month subscription, and for 12-month subscription it comes down to 15,750. Just a moment. All right. Coming to our odd one out. So odd one out parajumbles, they are two different questions which have been coming in CAT, which have come in CAT for last 3 to 4 years. Every year, 3 to 4 questions of both of these parajumbles and odd one out questions, they come in CAT, and they are I can say that they are easy to solve. And it is like I've always said, that this myth that it is only the people from certain language groups, it is people from who have studied in certain kind of schools, students who are from particular educational backgrounds, students who have a particular kind of from particular kind of cities, only they can do well in verbal ability and reading comprehension test, and others cannot. So probably this is a myth which has to be broken, and this myth, I think, can only be broken can only be broken when we try and try out some certain things which we haven't done. So like I always say that writing a few questions every day, okay, writing a few questions online every day, it's you may not know a lot about parajumbles and odd one out at this point of time, but it's okay. Probably if you'll try and solve 3 to 4 questions, you might surprise yourself. You might not be aware of your own talent, and you might do it around 1 or 2 questions out of 4 or 5 correctly. You might end up doing half of them correctly, you might end up doing all of them correctly. So a little bit of a courage in trying things online, because everything is online. CAT is online at least for last 10 years, right? CAT has been online, or yeah, more than 10 years. This will be, I think, because 2009 CAT became online, so there is no need to solve things offline any longer. So solving questions online makes more sense to me right now. And yeah, so like I said that it is solving odd one out or parajumbles, which they do different they're two different questions, but I'm talking about them in the same breath, in the same sentence, because the skills used are almost same. In odd one out, what happens that you don't have to arrange a jumbled up sentence into a coherent, organized paragraph. But in parajumbles, what happens? You have to arrange them. In odd one out, you have to just you have to just tell that, okay, this particular sentence doesn't fit in with other four sentences, because this is not talking about the same idea which these 4 are talking about. This particular sentence cannot be formed from a pair with any of these 4 sentences. So then it becomes the odd one out. And in parajumble, it is just find the right way to arrange them, the right sequence of how to arrange 4 sentences that have been given. And I also say that they are easy to attempt. They are easy to they can be mastered. They can be mastered by solving fewer number of questions. Say if you have to achieve 95% accuracy in, say, reading comprehension, it will take a lot of time. It will take one thing that RCs are long also. So if you have to solve 3 RCs, you need to spend some, say, 15 minutes, 20 minutes minimum every day. But if you have to solve 3 to 4 odd one out, or if you just solve 1 odd one out, 1 parajumble and 1 para summary, it'll get over in less than 10 minutes if you focus and you do it. And then you can spend time somewhere else. So solving a couple of questions, at least 1 question of odd one out every day, is going to be helpful. And at the same time, if you have to solve a reading comprehension question in an actual test, it'll take at least 10 minutes to at least 5 to 7 to 10 minutes to solve 1 reading comprehension question. And sometimes because it has some 4 to 5 paragraphs, and it has some 4 to 5 questions, sometimes it happens that you solve one question, you can just read one paragraph number 1, and then you can come and solve the question also. But sometimes central idea questions or primary purpose questions, so certain questions which require you to read and understand data and information given in disparate paragraphs, in different paragraphs spread across different paragraphs. You have to read the entire you have to read the entire passage, and it will take more time to read and to understand, to process, and to answer the questions. So my understanding is that it is extremely profitable, and if you look at just the amount of effort you will invest in the kind of rewards which you will receive by putting in only a little bit of effort every day. Solve 2 to 3 odd one out questions every day. So just try and solve at least one question every day. It will be better if you can solve 2 to 3 odd one out questions every day, and analyze the questions that you answer incorrectly. That is more than important. I'll tell you how to analyze. I think we've discussed this thing a couple of times. That yeah, this is just a demo for you which I wrote, that we did not understand the primary purpose of the given line. So in this way you can analyze and understand that why this mistake happened, and what you can do so that this mistake doesn't happen again. Let's read it again. It says 5 sentences. Always read the questions properly. 5 sentences related to a topic are given. 4 of them can be put together to form a meaningful and coherent short paragraph. Identify the odd one out. Choose its number as the answer and key. It says, his idea to use sign language was not a completely new idea, as Native Americans used hand gestures to communicate with other tribes. It says that his idea to use sign language is not a new idea, as Native Americans use hand gestures to communicate with other tribe. Ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle, for example, observed that men who are deaf are incapable of speech. Right? It says that the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle, for example, observed that. So we get to know by reading just first couple of lines that first is line number 1. The first line is talking about sign language. And it says his idea. His is a pronoun usage, right? So that means that if this particular line is part of the paragraph, there will be another line somewhere which is connecting this pronoun his to a proper noun, a name of a person, and most probably and it'll be his. So it's his idea means it's a male name. It's the name of a man, right? When they use his. To use sign language was not completely new, as Native Americans use hand gestures to come. So it's talking about usage of hand gestures, of sign language. Ancient, here is a name. Let's see if it fits with this line number 1, the idea given line number 2. Ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle, for example, observed that men who were deaf are incapable of speech. So it says that he observed something, but it doesn't talk about that it was his idea to use anything. So we don't know what that will fit in or not. We'll just don't know. Let's come further down. People who were born deaf, would deny the right to sign. Achha, one thing more you can do. You can just quickly scan through the lines for a proper noun somewhere. Yeah, you come to line number 4 and you will see that pushback against this prejudice. Prejudice means a bias or a certain kind of a preconceived notion about a person or a society or a culture or a group of people, which is not based on any facts, which is just based on some bias, some emotional response, which is not something which is not based on facts. So pushback against this prejudice began in 16th century when Pedro Pons will refer to basically this is your Pedro is a Spanish for priest, father. Pedro Pons created a formal sign language for hearing impaired. So now we know that his idea is referring to this particular phrase here. His idea, this pronoun phrase, is referring to Pedro Pons, the Leon here given in this particular line. So there's a clear-cut connection. Connection has been established. So 4 and 1, they are a pair, and hence 4 and 1 will not be the answer. They are not your odd one out. Okay. Achha, they've also mentioned here this. So we know that 4 and 1 are part of this, or part of the paragraph, which can be formed once we have identified the odd one out. 4 also says that pushback against this prejudice, which bias, which preconceived notion, we don't know. Let's probably this will also be a link to one more line. So let's read line number 3 and let's mark this this prejudice, because this is again a pronoun phrase which can refer to something, some idea. The people who were born deaf were denied the right to sign a will, as they would presume to understand nothing, because it is not possible that they have been able to read or write. So they were saying, it says that they were denied the right to sign a will, and they were presumed to understand nothing, because it is not possible that they have been able to learn to read or write. Right. So we know that this prejudice was referring to this idea that it was understood that they were denied certain rights to see. If you cannot sign the right to will, you probably you cannot. Probably your will can be misused, your property can be misused, and you might not be considered even smart enough to own something, to own property, because it was understood ki, a person who cannot listen, the person has the people who cannot talk, and listen, they might never have learned to read or write. But this prejudice, this injustice which was happening, there was a pushback, there was a fight which was brought in, there was a change, there were winds of change which were brought by this person, Pedro Pons, and he created a formal sign language for the hearing impaired. So we know that there's another pair here. 3-4 is also a pair here. 3 talks about certain preconceived notion which people have, and 4 says that this prejudice, this bias was incorrect. Okay. 5 says for millennia, people with hearing impairments encountered marginalization. People for a millennia means 1,000 years. People with hearing impairments encountered marginalization. Marginalization is when certain people are not considered to be so-called normal, or they are not understood to be people of mainstream. They are considered to be they're basically judged, and they are looked down upon, and they're not given the same social cultural standing, political standing, and they do not command similar rights. And these are the times when the things like liberty, justice, and all these ideas of freedom weren't so popular. They were always there, but so at that point of time, it was easy to sort of not give them certain rights, or usurp their rights, or curtail their rights. So it's talking about the same thing, that people with hearing impairments encountered marginalization because it was believed that language can only be learned by hearing the spoken word. Okay, so this is what we know as, this is a starting line, because this is when they start talking about, they give a general idea about what were the problems people with hearing impairments were facing, and then this is sort of taken ahead, the people who were born deaf here in line number 3. So there's a connection here in 3 and 4. People with hearing impairments encountered marginalization. So here there is a pair between. Acha, can I ask you something? What is the purpose of this paragraph? I mean, please ask some questions. I can see that 2 people are online. Please join the Telegram group, which has been given below in the description. Also, please like, subscribe, and share our channel. There is also a mentorship program which I'm running. So if you'll join my the Telegram group, I'll be sending you a link, and you can fill in that form, and I'll be offering you a test prep plan for coming this week at least. All right. Acha, now we know that we have found all the pairs. We know clearly that 2 isn't fitting. Because why? Because if you ask yourself, what is the primary purpose of this paragraph? The primary purpose of this paragraph is to talk about, is to sensitize, is to inform people about the challenges which the people who were suffering from hearing and speech related impairments, whatever issue they were facing, the challenges which they face, and especially in the olden days, and who and what brought change in their lives. We were not talking about ancient Greek, we were not talking about Aristotle, and we were also not talking about the connection between deaf and the people who are deaf and who are mute. So that is, they are incapable of speech. This was not the crux of the passage. So 2 is all out. There are also other problems here in why 2 is not a part of this particular. We are talking about what? 16th century. 16th century, and this line talks about ancient Greek. So ancient Greek is before Christ. So it is at least say I don't really know exactly when Aristotle lived, but this is very sure that all these activities, all this Greek culture and all, they happened before Christ, at least 2000 years, at least 2000 years in the past. So, but here they're talking about 16th century, so there's a time zone difference also. They're talking about 2 different timestamp and 2 different time zones basically. Another problem is which I find with line number 2 is that which we'll discuss in another next question also, that a paragraph of 4 lines is a very cohesive, is a very closely bonded, is a very closely associated form of writing. 4 lines which are coming one after the other, they will be having a lot of common ideas. There will be a lot of connection and common ideas and common themes coming in those lines. Okay, and a paragraph will not be a very loose or a very broad. It will be talking about a very narrow, a very niche, a very small, and a very specific topic, right? And you can also look at it from a common sense standpoint, that if 4 sentences are coming together one after the another, and even if the exam question paper, the content developer or the exam conducting body, they have to justify a certain sequence or a certain sentence, to not be part that which is that a certain sentence is not the part of the paragraph, then there should be some then there should be some solid reasoning behind that, and to provide that sort of a reasoning, it has to be a very clear-cut connection, a very clear-cut logical connection between the sentences given. Okay, let's read another. Same question, 5 sentences related to a topic are given below in a jumbled order. 4 of them form a coherent and unified paragraph. Identify the odd one out that does not go with the 4. Key in the numbers of the options that you choose. Stat signals something measurable, while Matic advertise free labor, but Tron above all indicated control. So they're talking about certain star signal something measurable, Matic advertise free labor, but Tron above all indicated control. So they're talking about some words which we don't understand, and they are giving them a certain meaning to it. Okay, probably they are Greek or Latin root words. We don't know as of now, and we need not know to solve the question. It says it was a totem of high modernism, the intellectual culture mode that decreed no process or phenomenon was too complex to be grasped, managed and optimized. It was a totem of high modernism. Totem means symbol. Okay, and the meaning of the sentence is that they don't tell what is the totem of high modernism, but the meaning, the agenda of this line is to convey that at some point of time in past, because it was a totem of high modernism, at some point of time, it was understood that no phenomena or process was too complex to be understood by the people. So this is what is the meaning. Let's see if we don't know if this particular line, which of this is part of it or not. I'm not sure. Let's see it further. So this was talking about some root word, some prefix, suffix, we don't know what they are, and then meaning. And 2 was talking about the idea that the intellectual and the cultural mode was too complex to be grasped and managed. Okay, like the heraldic shields of ancient knights. Heraldic sheets, what are heraldic sheets? Are basically, they're nothing but uh, so when the knights they go into the war, when they go to the war, uh, they carry these huge plates or shields to protect themselves from the sword attack or from the javelin attack, or from from the mace attack, or any kind of an equipment or military gear which is thrown, or which is hurled, or which is swung at them. Now these shields, they can have lot of information on them, like they can be decorated in a certain way. They can have certain symbols marked on them. They can have certain colors. They can have certain certain ideas, certain symbols, certain thoughts, or name of a person who is fighting the war, or a person who bears the shield, and engraved, written, or painted over it. So these things can be there. So in olden days, knights used to come with these shields, even if a person could not see the uniform or the clothes or the person's face from far, then in the sun or in the bright lights, these shields used to shine, and they used to tell others, tell the enemy, and then the people who are with them, that what is the designation of this person, or how big a fighter, or how renowned, or how prized a fighter, or a knight, or a soldier with this particular beard of the shield is. So it's in that way. So it says that, like the heraldic shields of ancient knights, these morphemes are the smallest part of your words. Okay, they have one vowel at least, and they are the smallest word formations which form proper word, basically. They are, you can say they are a basic unit of word or formations, were painted onto the names of scientific technology. So they are saying that, like these shields of the ancient knights, these morphemes, these smaller units of words, were painted onto the scientific technologies to proclaim one's history and achievements to friends, enemies, and alike. Even if you don't know the meaning of it, you can just understand that certain terms were added to the scientific technologies to provide a certain amount of pride and certain amount of vanity, or pride, basically pride and honor and valor to a person's to one's scientific achievement. Because if a person has come up with some scientific technology or technique, and the person adds these morphemes, then it becomes a part of history and achievement. The historian Robert Proctor at Stanford University calls the suffix "tron" along with the matic and stat embodied symbol. So there is some, now we get to know that this particular line, these morphemes, I'm sorry, this particular line, and this line, they're all connected, because they're all talking about the suffix "tron", "matic", and "stat". So line number 1 was doing what? Line number 1 was giving the literal meaning of them. 3 was talking about what? 3 was saying that they gave a certain amount of vanity, a certain amount of pride to these people. 4 spoke about what? 4 spoke about that that there was this historian Robert Proctor who calls the suffix tron, who calls suffix tron, matic, and stat embodied symbols. Right, so now that we get to know that the purpose of these 3 lines is to talk about suffixes, what they mean, and what cultural or scientific context these terms have on the scientific discoveries and the scientists who use these terms in their scientific terms, in their scientific discoveries, what kind of an social or a cultural impact these terms had. It's talking about that. 5 says to gain suffix was to require a proud and optimistic emblem of the electronic and atomic. So they're saying that to gain a suffix was a very proud and optimistic emblem. So it is what? It is again talking about the same thing. What is not matching here is this, that it's a totem of high modernism, intellectual code that decreed no process or phenomenon was too complex to be grasped, managed, and optimized. This is the odd one out. Okay, yeah, this is how it is. Yeah, like I said, understanding the primary purpose of the paragraph can be very helpful. If we understand the central theme using central idea, primary purpose, or the purpose of the paragraph as one of the yardstick, then we can zero in on the correct answer. So this is very correct, that central idea, primary purpose, or title of the paragraph, this can be very helpful. Let's solve one more question here. Okay, shall we? Chalo. It says 5 sentences related to a topic are given below. 4 of them can be put together to form a meaningful, coherent short paragraph. I identify the odd one out, so just number as your answer and key it in. One argument is that actors that do not fit within a single well-defined category may suffer an illegitimacy discount. Actors that do not fit in within a single well-defined category, they may suffer from an illegitimacy discount. What is an illegitimacy discount? We don't know at this point. We need not know. They're talking about some actors that do not fit within a single category, and if they do so, they suffer from this sort of a problem or this kind of a condition. Illegitimacy discount. They're talking about actors. Probably those actors are your people who act in movies, web series, or TV series, or in your maybe theater. We don't know what they're talking about. Maybe actors can also refer to certain factors. Probably they can say that certain factors which combine, but we don't know here what this. Let's see it further, how it written. It says others believe that complex identities confuse audiences about an organization's purpose. It's talking about complex identities confuse or audiences. Complex identities, they confuse audiences. It says some organism have complex, some organizations. Actually, before we move forward, what is that? So because line number 3 has also the same point. Some organizations have complex multidimensional identities. Now, what are these identities and what are they referring to? What are these identities and what are the different? Identity is is basically how people identify themselves and how others also identify themselves. Says that others believe that complex identities confuse audiences about an organization's role or purpose. So probably when they say others, so he's like talking about others. That means there are, apart from these others, there is another group of people who believe probably something different from this. Otherwise they would not have given this idea that others believe that complex identities confuse audiences, right? Maybe it is highly possible that if that the line which was previous to this, which was written just before this, meant something which is extremely contrasting. To the line given here. Let's read further. Some organizations have complex and multi-dimensional identities that span or combine categories, while other organizations possess narrow identities. So they're saying that some organizations have complex and others have narrow identities. 4 says identity is one of the most important features of organization, but there exist opposing views. Among sociologists about how identity affects organizational performance. So they're saying that identity happens to be an important feature, but there exist differing views. So we know that 4 is the starting line, because 4 starts talking about identity being an important is one of the most important features of organizations. Some of them have complex. Identities, and some have narrow ones. So 3 sort of covers it up. What starts in 4 as an introductory idea is taken forward in 3. 5 says those who think that complex identities are beneficial to the strategic advantages of ambiguity and organizations' potential to differentiate themselves from competitors. So they are saying that that some people think that complex identities are beneficial. So just after this, 3 will come 5, because 3 talks about the various kinds of identities possible. 5 talks about that how complex is helpful. 2 says, we said that whenever 2 is talking about that complex identities can confuse, and 5 says that complex identities are beneficial. So there is a connection here, clear-cut connection. So we know that 3, 5, 2 are also coming together. So there is a clear-cut connection about 4, 3, 5, 2. One is talking about something different. One says that one argument is that actors who do not fit within a single well-defined category may suffer from an illegitimacy discount. So this line was talking about something else which we don't know. Okay. All right. Unacademy subscription gives you live classes. You get to interact with the educator, live polls and leaderboard, test series and analysis, and you also get live doubt clearing sessions. So Unacademy Cat subscription is very helpful from a tertiary standpoint. We have a lot of plus classes, which I also do, and the numbers of people who are very less, the possibility to interact is very high there. Please use the code Saxena Live to get 10% discount. Thank you very much. There are a lot of free classes on the Unacademy app as well. Those are special free classes. Please download the app and utilize them.